The UES Pathfinder cut through the darkness of deep space, its quantum engines humming with a sound that Commander Sarah Chen had come to think of as the ship's heartbeat. The research vessel represented humanity's crowning achievement in space exploration, equipped with technology that would have seemed like magic just a decade ago. But as Sarah stood on the bridge, watching the approaching Nexari diplomatic vessel through the main viewport, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was still taking its first steps into a much larger universe. Nexari vessel holding at 50,000 kilometers, Commander, reported Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez from his tactical station. Their energy signatures are consistent with their previous transmissions. No weapons powered. Sarah nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the alien ship. The Nexari vessel resembled a massive silver leaf, its surface rippling with patterns of bioluminescent light. First contact had occurred just 3 weeks ago, when the Pathfinder detected their long-range communications. The Nexari had seemed surprisingly eager to meet, perhaps too eager. Dr. Harrison, Sarah called to her chief scientist. Any new readings from their hull composition? Diana Harrison looked up from her station, her silver hair catching the blue light of her holographic displays. Fascinating stuff, Commander. Their hull appears to be some kind of living metal. It's actually processing solar radiation and converting it directly into usable energy. I've never seen anything like it. The bridge crew maintained their professional demeanor, but Sarah could sense their collective excitement. This was why they had joined the United Earth Space Force, to discover new civilizations, new technologies, new possibilities for humanity's future. Commander, Rodriguez interrupted, we're receiving a transmission from the Nexari vessel. Ambassador Venn requests permission to come aboard with their scientific delegation. Sarah straightened her uniform. Grant permission. Have Chief Security Officer Patel meet me in Docking Bay 3. Dr. Harrison, you're with me. As they made their way through the Pathfinder's corridors, Diana couldn't contain her enthusiasm. Their technological advancement is remarkable, Sarah. Did you see how their ship's hull responds to solar winds? It's like they've merged organic and inorganic materials at a fundamental level. That's what concerns me, Sarah replied, keeping her voice low. They're at least a century ahead of us technologically, maybe more. Yet they seem almost too willing to share their knowledge. In my experience, advanced civilizations tend to be more cautious about their technologies. The docking bay doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing Chief Patel and his security team already in position. The massive chamber was mostly empty except for their own shuttlecrafts and maintenance equipment. A gentle vibration ran through the deck as the Nexari shuttle approached the atmospheric containment field. The alien vessel that glided into the bay was smaller than Sarah expected, barely larger than their own shuttles. Its surface shifted and swirled with the same bioluminescent patterns as its mothership, creating an almost hypnotic effect. As the vessel settled onto the deck, Sarah noticed how it seemed to adjust its structure to distribute its weight perfectly, more living metal technology. The shuttle's hull rippled, and an opening formed in its side. Ambassador Venn emerged, followed by 3 other Nexari. They were tall, elegant beings with silvery blue skin and elongated limbs that moved with fluid grace. Their large, multifaceted eyes seemed to take in everything at once, and patterns of light pulsed beneath their translucent skin. Commander Chen. Ambassador Venn's voice resonated with harmonics that the universal translator struggled to fully capture. We are honored to be welcomed aboard your vessel. Your species' achievement in reaching this far into space in such a short time is remarkable. Sarah caught something in the ambassador's tone at that last word. Was it admiration or concern? The honor is ours, Ambassador. We have prepared facilities for your delegation, and our scientific team is eager to begin our cultural and technological exchange. As they walked through the ship's corridors, Sarah noticed how the Nexari delegation seemed to pay particular attention to every detail of their surroundings. Their eyes lingered on control panels, power conduits, and especially the quantum core access points. Their questions, while seemingly casual, consistently probed at the heart of the Pathfinder's most advanced systems. In the main conference room, Diana began a presentation on human scientific achievements, carefully gauging the Nexari reactions. The aliens showed particular interest in humanity's rapid technological progression, especially in the fields of quantum mechanics and artificial intelligence. Your species advances quite quickly, one of the Nexari scientists observed, their skin patterns shifting to a deeper blue. From primitive chemical rockets to quantum drive in less than 2 centuries. Most species take millennia to achieve such progress. Humanity has always been driven to explore, to push boundaries. Sarah replied diplomatically. It's fundamental to who we are. Ambassador Ven's expression shifted in a way Sarah couldn't quite interpret. Yes, we have noticed this trait. It is quite unique among the species we have encountered. As the meeting continued, Sarah's unease grew. The Nexari were sharing information about their technology, yes, but she began to notice a pattern. They spoke of achievements centuries past their current capabilities, of theoretical applications rather than practical ones. It was as if they were deliberately presenting themselves as more advanced than they actually were. But why? The question nagged at her as she watched the Nexari scientists examine their quantum core specifications with what seemed like too much interest. Their questions about human learning algorithms and adaptive systems felt less like scientific curiosity and more like threat assessment. As the first day of meetings drew to a close, Sarah found herself in her private quarters, recording her personal log. Something isn't adding up, she spoke quietly. The Nexari are advanced, yes, but they're trying too hard to appear more advanced than they are. They're studying us as much as we're studying them, but not out of scientific curiosity. They're afraid of something. The question is, what about humanity frightens a civilization that's supposedly so far ahead of us? She didn't know it yet, but the answer to that question would come sooner than she expected, and it would change the course of human history forever. The Nexari delegation had departed 3 hours ago, leaving behind an unsettling quiet throughout the UES Pathfinder. Commander Sarah Chen stood at her usual spot on the bridge, watching their silver ship disappear into the darkness of space. The diplomatic exchange had lasted 5 days, filled with technical discussions and cultural sharing that had left her more suspicious than enlightened. Engineering to bridge. The voice of Chief Engineer Raj Kapoor crackled through the comm system, carrying an edge that made Sarah's spine stiffen. "Commander, we need you down here. Now." Sarah exchanged a quick glance with Lieutenant Rodriguez before heading to the lift. "Status report, Chief. Better to show you in person, Commander. It's complicated." The journey to engineering felt longer than usual. When the doors opened, Sarah found herself stepping into controlled chaos. Engineers rushed between stations, their faces illuminated by the glow of dozens of diagnostic screens. Raj stood at the central console, his usually immaculate uniform wrinkled from what looked like hours of continuous work. "Talk to me, Chief," Sarah said, approaching the console. "What are we looking at?" Raj's fingers danced across the holographic interface, pulling up layer after layer of system diagnostics. It started with minor power fluctuations in non-critical systems. Nothing alarming at first, the kind of thing we'd attribute to normal operational variance. But then we noticed a pattern. The display showed a cascade of system alerts, spreading through the ship's network like roots through soil. Sarah's eyes narrowed as she studied the data. They did something to our systems during their visit. Not just something. Dr. Harrison's voice came from behind them. The chief scientist had apparently followed Sarah to engineering. "They gave us a gift we never asked for." She pushed past several engineers to reach the main console, pulling up her own analysis. "Look at this code structure. It's unlike anything in our databases, but it's definitely not random." The holographic display filled with streams of alien code, beautiful in its complexity, but clearly malicious in its intent. Sarah watched as the program adapted and evolved before their eyes, probing the ship's defenses and finding new paths through their systems. It's not just a virus, Diana continued, her voice mixing awe with concern. It's more like a digital organism. It learns, adapts, evolves. Every attempt we make to isolate or delete it just teaches it how to defend itself better. How bad is it? Sarah asked, already dreading the answer. Raj wiped sweat from his forehead. At current progression rates, we have maybe 72 hours before it compromises critical systems. Life support, propulsion, navigation, everything will start failing. They've turned our own ship into a trap. Sarah's mind raced through their options. The nearest human outpost was weeks away, and they couldn't trust the Nexari for help. Not now. Can we shut down the affected systems? Restart from backups? We tried that, Raj replied, shaking his head. The virus, or whatever it is, has already infected our backup systems. It's like it knew exactly where to strike first. These aliens, they didn't just study our technology during their visit. They mapped our entire system architecture. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice came through the comm system. Commander, we're detecting unusual power signatures from the quantum core. The virus appears to be attempting to access the containment protocols. If it gets into the quantum core controls. Diana's voice trailed off. They all knew what that meant. A quantum core breach wouldn't just destroy the ship, it would tear a hole in space-time itself. Sarah felt the weight of command settle heavily on her shoulders. 300 crew members were counting on her to find a way out of this mess, but as she studied the spreading infection in their systems, a thought began to form. Dr. Harrison, she said slowly, you said this thing learns and adapts. It's not just destroying our systems, it's studying them, understanding them, evolving to counter them. Correct. Diana nodded. Yes, it's like it's trying to understand our technology as it takes it apart. The complexity of its learning algorithms is beyond anything we've ever developed. Then maybe that's our advantage, Sarah said, her mind racing ahead. They didn't just give us a weapon to destroy us. They handed us examples of their most advanced technology we can study. Raj looked up from his console, realization dawning in his eyes. You want to analyze the virus while it's actively trying to destroy us. Commander, that's insane. Sarah finished for him. Maybe, but we're out of options, and if there's one thing humans excel at, it's turning our enemies' weapons against them. Dr. Harrison, I want you to set up an isolated system, something we can use to study this thing without risking the rest of the ship. We'd need to be careful, Diana said, already pulling up schematics. One mistake, and we could accelerate the virus's spread instead of containing it. But it could work. We might even learn something about their base technology in the process. Chief Kapoor, your team's priority is keeping our critical systems running. Buy us as much time as you can. Lieutenant Rodriguez, she called through the comm, start analyzing the Nexari vessel's departure vector. If we survive this, I want to know exactly where they came from. As her crew jumped into action, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The Nexari had tried to eliminate what they saw as a potential threat, but they had made a crucial mistake. They had judged humanity by their own standards, assuming they would simply give up and die when their technology failed them. They were about to learn that humans had a long history of taking their enemies' weapons and turning them into something new, something unexpected. The virus in their systems wasn't just a threat, it was an opportunity. And Sarah intended to make sure her ship and crew survived long enough to seize it. In the quantum core chamber, the alien code continued its relentless advance, unaware that its very nature was about to become humanity's greatest advantage. The game was no longer about survival, it was about evolution. And humanity had just been given the keys to their next great leap forward, whether their enemies intended it or not. Dr. Diana Harrison hadn't slept in 36 hours, but her eyes remained fixed on the holographic display floating before her. In the isolated lab they'd set up deep within the Pathfinder's research section, she and her team watched as the alien code danced through their test systems, its patterns becoming more familiar with each passing hour. There, she pointed, her voice hoarse from too much coffee and too little rest. See how it responds to our quantum encryption. It's not just breaking through, it's learning from it, incorporating our security protocols into its own structure. Next to her, Dr. James Chen, the ship's quantum computing specialist, leaned forward. His usually pristine lab coat was wrinkled from hours of continuous work. "It's beautiful," he whispered, "the way it processes information. It's not just advanced programming." The Nexeri have found a way to merge quantum computing with organic growth patterns. A sudden alert flashed across their screens. In the ship's main systems, another subsector had just fallen to the virus's advance. They were running out of time. "Commander Chen to Research Lab." Sarah's voice came through the comm. "Please tell me you have something." Diana exchanged glances with James before responding. "Commander, I think we've made a breakthrough. You need to see this." Minutes later, Sarah strode into the lab, Chief Engineer Raj close behind her. The commander's uniform was as crisp as ever, but the dark circles under her eyes betrayed the strain of the past 2 days. "Show me," she ordered. Diana pulled up a new holographic display, splitting it into 2 sections. "This is the virus as it appeared when we first isolated it," she indicated the left side. "And this," she gestured to the right, "is what it looks like now. Notice anything?" Sarah stepped closer, studying both images. The original code was complex but recognizable as a program. The current version, however, looked almost organic, its patterns reminiscent of neural networks, but far more intricate. "It's evolving," she said slowly, "but not just randomly. It's incorporating our technology into itself." "Exactly." James stepped forward, excitement breaking through his exhaustion. "The Nexeri designed it to learn from our systems as it destroyed them. But in doing so, they accidentally gave it the ability to understand and adapt to human technology in ways they never anticipated. We think we know why they tried to destroy us." Diana added, "Human quantum computing may be less advanced than theirs, but our approach is fundamentally different. We solve certain quantum stability problems in ways they never considered. The virus is proving that our methods are viable, maybe even superior in some ways." A thunderous vibration shook the lab, causing equipment to rattle on shelves. Raj quickly checked his tablet. "We just lost auxiliary power in sections C through F. Primary systems are holding, but barely." Sarah's expression hardened. "How does this help us survive the next 48 hours? "Because we're not just studying the virus anymore," Diana said, pulling up new displays. "We're learning to communicate with it." "James, show them." The quantum specialist input a series of commands. On a sealed test system, they watched as human code interfaced with the alien program. Instead of being destroyed, the human elements began to merge with the virus, creating something entirely new. "The virus isn't just a weapon," James explained. "It's the most advanced teaching tool we've ever encountered. It's showing us exactly how Nexeri technology works, and more importantly, how to improve it using our own innovations." "Can we use this to save the ship?" Sarah asked, cutting to the heart of the matter. Diana nodded slowly. "We think so, but not by destroying the virus. We need to let it in." "Let it in." Raj stepped forward, alarm clear on his face. "That thing is already tearing our systems apart." "Because it's fighting us," Diana explained. "But what if instead of fighting it, we work with it, guide its evolution? The virus wants to learn from our technology, so let's teach it, but on our terms." Sarah was silent for a long moment, considering the implications. "You're suggesting we deliberately inject this thing into our core systems?" "Not exactly," James said. "We've developed a modified version of our quantum encryption protocols. Instead of trying to keep the virus out, it will create channels for it to follow. We can't stop it from spreading, but we can control how it spreads. And as it moves through these channels," Diana continued, "it will merge with our systems rather than destroying them. The result would be a hybrid, human quantum technology enhanced by Nexeri biodigital processes." Another tremor ran through the ship, stronger this time. Warning klaxons began to sound in distant corridors. "We're out of options, Commander," Raj said grimly. "Primary systems are failing faster than we can reroute power. We need to make a decision now." Sarah moved to the main display, studying the intricate dance of human and alien code in the test system. The Nexeri had tried to destroy them with their most advanced technology, assuming humans would never be able to understand it, let alone adapt it. They had greatly underestimated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to learn, to grow, to transform adversity into advantage. "How long to implement your solution?" she asked. "We've already prepared the modified encryption protocols," James replied. "We can begin the process immediately. But, Commander, once we start, there's no going back. The entire ship will be transformed, every system rebuilt from the ground up. And if it works," Sarah's eyes remained fixed on the display. "If it works," Diana said softly, "we'll have something unprecedented, a true fusion of human and Nexeri technology, greater than the sum of its parts. We won't just survive their attack. We'll emerge from it with capabilities they never imagined possible." Sarah straightened, her decision made. "Do it. But first, ship-wide announcement. The crew deserves to know what we're attempting." As Diana and James began their preparations, Sarah moved to the comm panel. Throughout the Pathfinder, crew members paused in their desperate battle to keep the ship alive, listening as their commander's voice echoed through every corridor and compartment. "Attention all hands. In approximately 10 minutes, we will begin a procedure that will fundamentally alter every system aboard this ship. The Nexeri tried to destroy us by attacking our technology. Instead, they're about to learn a lesson about human ingenuity that the galaxy won't soon forget. Stand by your posts. Prepare for transformation. Chen out." In the research lab, Diana's fingers flew across her console, initiating the process that would either save them all or doom them completely. The virus was about to be given exactly what it wanted: full access to human technology. But this time, humanity would be the ones guiding its evolution, shaping it into something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The transformation began with a whisper. Throughout the UES Pathfinder, screens flickered as Diana and James initiated their modified encryption protocols. For a moment, everything seemed to pause. The virus's relentless advance, the failing systems, even the ship's constant vibration. Then, like a dam breaking, everything changed at once. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, watching as waves of code swept through the ship's systems. The main view screen had transformed into a cascade of shifting patterns as human and alien technologies began their unprecedented merge. "Primary systems are accepting the new protocols," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice tense with concentration. "The virus is. It's following the pathways we created." "Engineering to bridge." Raj's voice crackled through the comm. "Commander, you need to see this. The quantum core, it's doing something impossible." Sarah was already moving. "Report. Power output is increasing exponentially, but containment is holding." "No, not just holding, it's evolving. The core is redesigning its own containment systems." In engineering, Sarah found her chief engineer staring at readings that should have been impossible. The quantum core, heart of their faster-than-light propulsion system, pulsed with new energy. Through the reinforced observation windows, they could see the core's normal blue glow had taken on shifting patterns reminiscent of the Nexeri's bioluminescence. "The virus isn't just merging with our systems," Diana explained, rushing in with her tablet displaying streams of data. "It's optimizing them, rebuilding them using principles from both our technologies. The quantum core is becoming something entirely new." The ship shuddered, but this time it wasn't from systems failing. Throughout the vessel, panels and displays began to transform. Solid metal seemed to flow like liquid, restructuring itself at the molecular level. The very walls appeared to come alive, threading through with patterns of light that matched the core's new rhythm. "Hull integrity is increasing." Rodriguez's confused voice came through the comm. The outer plating is restructuring itself, incorporating the same biodigital principles as our internal systems. In the research lab, James worked furiously at his station, monitoring the transformation. The virus is doing exactly what we predicted. It's learning from our technology, but following our guidelines. We're not just surviving their attack, we're using it to force years of technological evolution in a matter of hours. The process continued throughout the ship. Crew members watched in amazement as their familiar technology transformed before their eyes. Traditional control panels melted away, replaced by interfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. The ship's internal network became a living thing, adapting and responding to the crew's needs before they even expressed them. Power levels stabilizing, Raj reported, though his voice suggested stable had taken on a whole new meaning. We're operating at. Commander, these readings can't be right. We're showing energy efficiency at least 500% above our previous maximum. Sarah moved through her transformed ship, noting how every system had been enhanced. The medical bay's diagnostic equipment now incorporated Nexuri bioscanning technology. The weapons systems had evolved beyond simple energy projectors into something that could manipulate the very fabric of spacetime. Even the ship's basic functions, life support, artificial gravity, structural integrity, now operated on principles that merged the best of both human and alien science. Dr. Harrison, Sarah called, watching as another wave of transformation swept through the corridor ahead of her. Status report. Diana looked up from her tablet, her eyes wide with wonder. It's better than we could have hoped, Commander. The virus isn't just transforming our technology. It's teaching us. Every system it modifies gives us new insights into principles we never even considered. We're learning decades of advancement in real time. And the virus itself. That's the most remarkable part, James cut in, joining them. It's becoming something new, neither purely Nexuri nor human in design. The learning protocols we introduced have merged with its original programming to create an adaptive system that continues to evolve. It's not just a weapon or a tool anymore. It's becoming a true artificial intelligence, one that understands both our technologies at a fundamental level. The ship shuddered one final time, and then everything settled into a new rhythm. The transformed systems synchronized, creating a harmony of human innovation and alien efficiency that had never existed before. All stations, report, Sarah commanded, making her way back to the bridge. One by one, the reports came in. Every system was not just functional but enhanced beyond their original specifications. The Pathfinder had become something unprecedented, a hybrid vessel that represented the next leap forward in space technology. "Ma'am," Rodriguez called as she entered the bridge. "Long-range sensors are picking up something. 3 Nexuri vessels on an intercept course." Sarah smiled grimly as she took her place in the command chair, now a living thing that adjusted perfectly to her posture. "They're probably coming to check if their virus finished us off. Time to show them the consequences of underestimating human adaptability." The bridge crew worked at their transformed stations, marveling at how naturally the new interfaces responded to them. The merged technology wasn't just more advanced, it was more intuitive, as if the ship itself had gained a degree of awareness that let it anticipate their needs. "Bring all systems to full power," Sarah ordered. "Let's show our friends what happens when you give humanity the tools to evolve." The Pathfinder's engines hummed with new energy, its hybrid systems ready for the confrontation to come. They had not just survived the Nexuri's attack, they had transformed it into the greatest technological leap forward in human history. And now, it was time to demonstrate exactly what that meant for the balance of power in the galaxy. The 3 Nexuri vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel like silver leaves catching starlight, their hulls rippling with familiar patterns of bioluminescence. On the Pathfinder's transformed bridge, Commander Sarah Chen watched their approach with calm confidence. The ship's enhanced sensors provided unprecedented detail about the alien vessels, including power readings that would have been impossible to detect just days ago. "They're scanning us," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his station, his fingers dancing across the living interface that had replaced his traditional console. Their readings must be confusing them. Our power signature is nothing like what it was before. Open a channel, Sarah ordered. Let's say hello to our old friends. The main view screen shimmered, resolving into the image of a Nexari bridge. Ambassador Ven stood at its center, but the diplomatic mask had fallen away. The alien's multifaceted eyes widened at the sight of the Pathfinder's transformed bridge. Commander Chen, Ven's harmonics carried clear notes of disbelief. Your ship, you're still alive. No thanks to your hospitality, Sarah replied coolly. The virus you left behind was quite sophisticated. Our compliments to your engineers. Impossible. Another Nexari moved into view, their skin patterns shifting rapidly in what Sarah now recognized as agitation. The program was designed to destroy your systems completely. You couldn't have survived, let alone maintained operational status. Dr. Diana Harrison stepped forward, her eyes gleaming. Actually, we did more than survive. Would you like to see what happens when humanity takes your best technology and improves it? At her gesture, the Pathfinder's external illumination activated. Patterns of light raced across the hull, but unlike the subtle ripples of Nexari ships, these pulses moved with purpose and precision, demonstrating the perfect fusion of organic flow and mathematical efficiency. By the stellar concordat, Ven whispered, their composure cracking. What have you done? We learned, Sarah stated simply. Your virus was meant to study our systems as it destroyed them, but you didn't count on us studying it back. Every attempt it made to understand our technology gave us insights into yours. Instead of fighting it, we guided its evolution. And now, she nodded to Chief Engineer Raj, who initiated a carefully calculated power surge. The Pathfinder's quantum core pulsed, sending waves of energy rippling through space in a display that made the Nexari vessel's systems look primitive by comparison. Detecting weapons charging on all three vessels, Rodriguez reported calmly. Let them, Sarah replied. Dr. Chen, show them our new defensive capabilities. James activated one of their hybrid systems. A field of quantum-encrypted space surrounded the Pathfinder, incorporating principles from both human shield technology and Nexari biodigital matrices. Any weapon fire would not just be blocked, it would be absorbed and repurposed. Your virus taught us something important about the Nexari, Sarah continued, addressing the increasingly agitated aliens. You're so advanced that you've become stagnant. You don't innovate anymore. You just perfect what you already know. That's why our rapid progress frightened you. That's why you tried to destroy us before we could surpass you. You don't understand what you've done, Ven protested. This level of technological advancement, it's dangerous, uncontrolled. The galaxy has protocols for these things. No, Sarah corrected them. What's dangerous is attempting to destroy a species that specializes in turning setbacks into advantages. Humanity doesn't follow your protocols because we're not bound by your limitations. We adapt, we evolve, and thanks to your attempt to destroy us, we've just evolved far beyond what you thought possible. The Nexari vessels began to move into attack formation, but their movements seemed sluggish compared to the Pathfinder's new capabilities. Their technology, once seemingly magical to human eyes, now appeared rigid and constrained. They're preparing to fire, Rodriguez announced. Sarah settled into her command chair, feeling the living metal adjust to support her. Deploy the quantum mirrors. The space around the Pathfinder shimmered as dozens of micro-singularities sprang into existence, each one carefully controlled by their hybrid systems. The technology, impossible just days ago, now responded to their commands with perfect precision. The Nexari ships fired, their energy weapons lancing out across space. The quantum mirrors caught their attacks, redirecting the energy through higher dimensional spaces before returning it. Not as weapons, but as pure data. In an instant, the Nexari vessel's systems were flooded with information about the very technology they had tried to use against humanity. Their shields are failing, Diana reported with satisfaction. But not from damage. Their systems can't process the amount of information we're feeding them. Their biodigital networks are being overwhelmed by their own weapons, enhanced by our quantum algorithms. Commander, James called out urgently. I'm detecting cascade failures in their primary systems. Their ships are going to tear themselves apart if they don't power down. Sarah leaned forward. This is Commander Chen of the UES Pathfinder. Power down your vessels immediately, or watch your own technology destroy you. Your choice. One by one, the Nexari ships went dark, their systems shutting down to prevent total collapse. On the view screen, Ambassador Venn stared at the humans with what could only be described as awe. How? They asked simply. How did you turn our greatest weapon into this? Because that's what humanity does, Sarah replied. We don't just survive challenges. We learn from them. Your virus wasn't just a weapon to us. It was a teacher, a key to understanding principles your people have taken for granted for centuries. And now, thanks to your attempt to destroy us, humanity will help guide the galaxy's technological evolution in directions you never imagined possible. The Pathfinder's enhanced sensors detected dozens more ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel, vessels from other species, drawn by the unprecedented energy signatures of the confrontation. They would all see the result of the Nexari's failed attempt to prevent human advancement. Send a message to Earth, Sarah ordered. Tell them that humanity's next chapter is about to begin. And we have our enemies to thank for it. As the Pathfinder's hybrid systems pulsed with power, its merged human and alien technology working in perfect harmony, Sarah reflected on the irony of their situation. The Nexari had tried to cripple humanity's advancement into space. Instead, they had become the catalyst for humanity's greatest leap forward. It was a lesson the galaxy would not soon forget. Never try to destroy that which adapts, learns, and evolves. For in doing so, you might just create something far beyond your ability to control or imagine.